So in this video, we're just going to be taking a look at the Taskade platform. It's just a project management system. And so all that means is it just allows you to coordinate a workload or multiple workloads between colleagues, team members, or you can just use it all by your lonesome. So in this video, we're just going to go over what's the Taskade workflow. How does it help you structure your workflow? What are the stages to that? In depth, we'll go into each stage. There are 4/5 stages. And then now that you have all this work swimming around, how do you manage all of that information? And then we'll look into to taking in or inviting team members into that workflow. And then finally, we'll just talk about like platform pricing options and my final impressions of their product or service here. Full disclosure: this is a sponsored video, and so if any of this interests you at all, be sure to follow us on our socials. That's the Twitter and the Instagram. We do daily posts as well as keeping you guys up to date with what's happening on this channel, the video coming down the pipeline. And so with all of that said, let's begin. So before I begin, I want to thank Taskade for reaching out to me and sponsoring this video. They wanted me to do a video on their platform, their product, their service, and since it's something I think you guys would find value in, and I do use it to schedule and manage the content for this channel, as well as for my side business, I figured out, hey, why not let you guys in on what Taskade's about? So what is Taskade? Well, Taskade is just a project management platform. It helps you just coordinate a workload or multiple workloads between colleagues, team members, or you can just use it all by yourself. Think of it like a combination of to-do lists. There's some Zoom meeting aspects. There's the ability to video conference and screen share, and of course, deadline planning. And so you can use Taskade for any project timeline. Daily, I use it for weekly and monthly projects, and of course, like yearly long projects. And so in this video, I'm going to start with what is the Taskade workflow? How do they structure your work, your project? Then we're going to go into the in-depth in each stage. And then now that we have these workflows, how do you manage all of the information within the workflow? And then we'll move on to adding or coordinating that workflow with team members. And then we'll finish off with pricing options. We'll do platform options and my final impressions. And so if you just want to skip around the video, I'll leave timestamps in the description box below. And so this is the Taskade homepage, taskade.com. And this is the Taskade or my Taskade homepage or the dashboard. It's very simple, to the point. That's one of Taskade's philosophies, modus operandi, mission statements, is just to create a very simple, to the point, clean project management platform. And so on the sidebar here, on the left side, we have a sidebar. Click this button, we have the same sidebar. In the middle, we have the main container. On the top right, we have an app and user settings button, profile, dark mode, on, off. We have manage billing, change languages, settings, help center, all that stuff. Bottom left, just a way of changing up the theme of your homepage, your dashboard. So that's it. Very simple, very clean. Let's get into the workflow. There you go. All right, so what's a Taskade workflow? Well, there are 5 stages, but there's really 4 main stages. I'll tell you the 5th one. I don't really use it, but you can use it if you want. So it starts with workspace, project, block, task. The 5th one is just a subspace right here. Subspace within the workspace. We're not going to get fancy. We're just going to keep it to the 4. So workspace, within a workspace, you create a project. Within a project, you create a block. And within a block, you create a task or tasks. Task or tasks, those are the do's of your to-do list. That's the meat of your project. And so we're going to go through that workflow, and we're just going to create that project, the workspace, project, block, task workflow. And so right now I have 2 workspaces. This is the one for the channel here, and this is one for the side business. I don't think I can show you guys any of that. I might have to blur it out if I need to show you guys something else. But I have 2 workspaces here. Let's create another workspace. So new workspace. Let's call this one, let's say Taskade. And we'll say impressions like that. And we'll color it green. New workspace. We'll get to this when we get to this. Let me just click off of that. So that's it. We've created a workspace. Very simple. Now, within a workspace, we can create a project. Now, when I was doing the write-up or taking my notes going through their platform, their service here, I might have missed it, or they might have added it. 3, when I was doing the notes, there was 2 ways to create a project. Now there's 3. Again, they might have added it or I missed it. They're always updating the features, and the UI UX. At the time of taking my notes, this new project was up here. This way to invite was up here. They're always restructuring things, and they'll email you on the changes they've made. So there's 3 ways to create a project now. The first way is, of course, the easiest, which is a blank project like this. Tap to create, just a blank canvas. The second way is through a template, one of these weekly planners, meeting agendas. All the template is a, let's say it's a pre-configuration of a use case you'd find in the real world, whether it be professional or personal environments. So project board, mind map, you can click more. It takes you to the Taskade website, and they just have a bunch of templates here. Personal, grocery shopping list, team management, weekly one-on-ones, weekly team workflow. So that's the second way, through a template. The third way, which I missed or they added, is you can now import through Trello. If you know what Trello is, it's also a project management platform. It works with these boards, and you scroll left to right. I'll show you it in a bit. They have their own version of that. These boards, you scroll left to right, you can drag and drop. It's a very smooth UI, UX experience. So you can now import from Trello. I'm not going to authenticate here. So 3 different ways for this video. We're just going to go with the simplest, which is a blank project. Blank project. Let's name the project. So within the workspace Taskade, let's say impressions video tutorial. Impressions video. So within the workspace tutorial, we've now created a project. We've named the project. We can add an icon to go with the project. I'll do this one. It's like a bionic robot arm or something. It looks like Markdown's their editor, but I don't know what it is. It just looks like Markdown. So we've named the project. We can also attach properties to the project. So you see here we have a due date for the entire project. We're not going to touch that right now. We can assign it to different team members. Currently it's just me, so assigned to myself. And we can tag, so we can filter multiple. If multiple projects fall under the same category, we can filter them, and it just makes it, we can tag them, and it makes it easier to filter them or search for them. So impressions like that. And so that's a project. Now within a project, we can create tasks right away. You can see type something. We can go tasks right away, or we can just organize into blocks. We're going to organize into blocks. So we can add a block, and there's different types of blocks. Now this type just refers to what type of tasks are within the block. Checklists, bullet lists, numbers, and paragraphs. For this, we'll just do the checklist. Let's name this block. Block 1. Let's get rid of this wandering task right here. Let's add another block. Let's just say paragraph, and we'll say block 2. And just like adding properties to your project, you can add properties to each block. So in addition to the due date and the assigning to team members, we have the ability to have a comment string going just for this block, and we can attach files to this block. And you can also just visually change the checklist icon. Circle, square, heart. The bullets come in the circle, triangle, square. And what is this one? This is the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s, and of course the paragraph options. Go to the go back to the checklist. So this is task 1. And again, just like the block and the project, you can attach properties to each task. So same thing as the block. The ability to attach a due date, assign it to team members, comment or have a comment string unique to just this task, and attach files. So that's the Taskade workflow. We create a workspace. Within a workspace, we create a project. We can get straight to adding tasks, or we can organize into blocks. And within blocks, we create the tasks here. And so now that we know how to, let's say, organize all of these ideas on a paper, quote unquote paper, or just on this canvas, how do we visualize the project? How do we visualize the ideas? And so I'm going to use a different project for this. I don't want to fill out a bunch of stuff and waste your time. So let's delete this workspace right here. Let's go to Taskade, impressions, delete, and let's go to this channel. This is the project outline for this video I'm making. Click that. We have all of the ideas on paper. How do we visualize this? Well, there are 5 different ways Taskade lets you visualize your project. This one's just the default for this template, which is just a line-by-line list. Right up here. Top right, the list. The second way is that board. So if you're not familiar with Trello, this is what Trello kind of looks like. It's just these boards, and you just scroll left to right. Now, one thing that's kind of wonky with Taskade is the UI, or not say UI, the UX is not as smooth as Trello's board. And so in order to get media assets in front of launch, we can't do that. We can't drag it down here, or else it adds to the launch. we can't drag it over here. We have to drag launch behind media assets. So I'm sure they'll patch this up. They're always updating the platform. Just understand that the UX for their Trello, their quote unquote version of Trello board, it's just not as smooth as the actual Trello board, but they do give you the option of working with these boards and then scrolling left to right. Same functionality. You can add boards, or excuse me, add blocks, boards, add tasks, add all your, attach your properties, all that stuff. Let's move did I move launch? Let's move that one back. There we go. So that's the second way Taskade lets you visualize your project. The next is a version of the list, action. Again, itemized line by line list. It's just more to the point, no frills version of the list. So not a lot of clicking. Everything's one click away. So the due dates right here, the comment strings right here, attach files, assign, and then we have these way of highlighting, add, we'll get to that in a second, mention, complete, all that stuff. So just a very streamlined, to the point, no frills version of that list right there. Now the next two layouts or views, I don't really use. My laptop screen's too small for this, but I could see you using it if you have a large, maybe a multi-monitor setup or a large monitor, or like you're at a business meeting and you have a projector or a television. And that's just, these next two views just give you a good bird's eye view of your project. And so we have the mind map, which is just a horizontal tree structure. Let me go minus on that. We'll go minus one more. Just a nice way of visualizing the overall project. You can collapse to make it more visually appealing. And same functionality. You can add blocks, remove blocks, add tasks, remove tasks, add properties, remove properties. Let's do this and this. So you can add properties like that, and just the options, highlighting, add, we'll get to that, mention, set priority, all that stuff. And the last one is just a vertical version of this guy, org chart. So it's just a tree version of it. Same thing. We can clean it up like that. We can add blocks, add tasks, remove tasks, add all the properties, all that good stuff like that. So those are the final two layouts or views that Taskade allows or enables. So we have the list, we have the board, we have the action list, we have the mind map, there we go, and we have the org chart. There we go. Let's go back to the list. Let's do a Control-0 just to magnify 100%. All right, so we now know how to organize, let's say organize all of this work. We know how to visualize all of this, actually, we'll say information. We now know how to organize all of this information. We can visualize this information. How do we keep track of all of this information? Well, let's talk deadlines. Let's go back to list. And notice I have a deadline for this project. And I have a deadline for this task. Not for the block. I'm just doing task right here. So deadline for project, deadline for task. Let's go back to the home page. Right here. There we go. So when we add a due date to a project, not a block or task, but we add a due date to a project like I did right here, May 17th to May 31st, it gets tracked or you can find it in two different places. The roadmap, which is not my favorite thing. There's too much horizontal scrolling with this. We can zoom out like this. So that's the roadmap, or the calendar, which is what I prefer. And so as you can see, Taskade channel, this starts on the 17th and it's due on the 31st. And then after that, I have another video coming out, which starts on the 31st. And that one is going to be due, where? On the 14th of June. So just two places. When you add a due date to a project, it gets tracked on the roadmap or the calendar. Now, when you add a due date to a block or a task, you can track it in three places. And so the tasks tab right here, as you can see, write first draft, June 3rd, and my task. I might have to blur this one right here. So as you can see, just for this channel, you'll see the due date attached to the certain task or block. But if you go to the My Tasks, this monitors all of your workspaces. So I might have to blur some of this information because there's a lot of stuff related to the other side business. But as you can see, it tracks all the tasks and blocks from all the workspaces. And of course, the calendar. We have these two right here. That's for the other project in red. We have write first draft down here, which is due on the 2nd of, what is that? That's the 2nd of June on a Wednesday. So there's three different places you can track due dates for tasks and blocks. That would be the Tasks tab. You can say the Tasks panel and the calendar. When you're doing projects, you can just find it in two places, the roadmap and the calendar. Now, that just takes care of due dates. How do you manage the minutia? What happens when people start completing tasks? Let's go here. Maybe they start completing tasks, or they add comments to certain blocks, or they're adding files. How do you track all of that minutia, or you could say intricate detail of the project and multiple projects? Well, Taskade gives you a notification system. So if you go back to the homepage right here, you can use it wherever you want, but I'm just using it on the homepage. You click on this activity bar. This will just alert you of when tasks are due, when people have added comments. I might have to blur this stuff out. When people have attached files to certain blocks and tasks. So all that sort of minutia gets tracked in this activity notification system. And this stuff can push to your email, your desktop notification system, and your mobile platform if you choose those options. So that's how we can track the minutia of multiple tasks and blocks within multiple workspaces, within multiple projects, within multiple workspaces. Now, within a project, they recently added this, I think 2 weeks ago as of filming this video, the ability to track or just see a project history of people adding, say, deleting or editing tasks or blocks. So two different ways of tracking all of that sort of micro information. You have the alert system, and then you now have a recent or a history system like this. So let's go back to the home page. There we go. So we now know how to, let's say, organize all of that work. We can visualize all of that work, those 5 different layouts. We now know how to track all of that work. How do we communicate or coordinate this work with multiple people, team members? Well, in order to do that, we need to first invite them to the project or to the workspace. And so we can click on this invite button. And there are 3 different ways. If you can email them a link, and then there's like the two, if you're familiar with Discord, they have the ability to add through a username if the person you're inviting has a Taskade account, and an invite link like that. And there are 2 different permissions here that you can utilize. You have the editor, which can create and edit projects, templates, but cannot manage workspace settings. And then you just have a viewer. So they can only comment and chat in projects. They can't really edit the projects. So once you've added them, they get added. Should I show you this? I have to do some blurring, but because I don't have any multiple team members on the channel, I have one other team member on this other workspace. So let me click this, and forgive me blurring some stuff, but you can see that they're added right here. So that's me, and that's my business partner right here. Once you've added them, how do you communicate with them? So let's go back to the channel. And so there are a couple of ways you can communicate with team members. If you go within a project and they add a comment, so let's just say copy, let's go here. Let's add a comment, let's just say, need to finish that blog write-up ASAP. There we go. So we've just added a comment string right here. That'll show up in their notification system here. It would say, what would be, an object was my name here. NOBJ left a comment, and then they could click this, and they'd be directed to this blog right here. So that's one of the ways you can communicate with people. Same thing if you added a file that would show up in the notification system for the team members. Now the second way is, which is one of my favorite features of Taskade, which is this one simple click right here. You click this, it starts opening up a chat panel. So we can type in it, we can add emojis, we can attach files, but most impressively, you just click the start call right like this, and you have a video conference set up, ready to go. Just allow like that. Ready to go. You can end the call. You can do screen sharing. And so it's all really simple, clean, to the point, end the call. There you go. Now, one thing I wish they had, maybe they might introduce it, is you can chat like this, especially with the video conference, within projects. But if we go here, and we go to the dashboard or the homepage, you can't have strings of conversations, sort of like a global chat system. There's no global chat system within Taskade. There's no way of chatting just amongst your team members in this level of your homepage. You can only do it within projects. And so this chat system, this text log, would be unique to this project. you go down to here. This chat log would be, or is unique to this project. So I can see why they have that functionality where they just have the chat unique to each project. But I wish and hope they make it in the future, just a way of, when you're just resting on your homepage, a way of just communicating, having a chat with team members before you delve into projects. I'm sure they'll add it, but that's just one of the things I'm looking forward to. And so those are two ways of communicating with team members. When they add comment strings, it'll show up in their activities. They can click on the little activity, and they'll be forwarded right to the block that you left the comment. Need to finish that blog right up ASAP. And of course, this really simple one-click way of having a comment string or starting a conference call with screen sharing and all that stuff. And that call, close that. So we now know how to organize the information. We can visualize the information. We can, what do? We can keep track of the information. We can communicate that information between people. Let's move on to pricing and platform options. So you can use Taskade on multiple platforms. So if we go over to their website right here, we go to the downloads. I'm using Taskade within the browser. They have many options. So desktop apps, they have, of course, Mac, Windows, Linux. They have mobile apps, the Android and the Apple. And they have a browser extension for Chrome/Brave, Firefox, and Edge. So let me show you guys the Chrome extension real quick. Let me open up a new tab here. Close this. We're just going to click on or right-click their browser icon right here. We click on the Open Taskade, and it just opens the Taskade dashboard. It also allows you to quickly insert tasks. So currently we're on the workspace channel. We're on the project Taskade, which is this guy right here. So if you go down here, scroll to the bottom, for like quick to-do lists or maybe just like a grocery list you're making online. So we click this, and let's just say, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. We go to Add Project, and just a quick way of adding tasks to your to any project in Taskade. It also allows you to set the new tab of the browser you're on to the last project, dashboard, new project, or a calendar. So that would be this page right here. So they have multiple options: desktop, mobile, and browser extensions. Now, the information syncs across all of these platforms except for, well, the information syncs, but there's two different, or there's, I might have missed it. It might be there. But there's limitations to the mobile app, two limitations which I found. And so when we were talking about how do you manage all of this information within multiple workspaces, projects, blocks, tasks, I forgot to mention that you could add, or you can sync, let's go here, you could sync blocks and tasks to your calendar. Whether or not you use Google Calendar or Yahoo Calendar, I don't use those, but you can sync the information. The mobile app doesn't allow you to do this, so there's no feature. Again, it might be there, I might have missed it, but I couldn't find a way to sync your blocks and your tasks while using the mobile version of Taskade. Another limitation of their mobile app is I couldn't find it. It may be there. You can do multiple. I couldn't find multiple view or layouts. You could just use the list or a version of the list on the mobile app. I wanted to spin up their mobile app to show you guys using BlueStacks, which is an emulator for mobile platforms, but I'm on my laptop right now. There's a memory restraint, so if I spun up BlueStacks and I showed you, it'd just be really laggy. But those are the two limitations I found on their mobile version of Taskade. There's no multiple view options, and you can't sync. You have no option to sync on the to your Google or Yahoo Calendar. Other than that, any change you make on one platform is of course mirrored. The information, the nuts and bolts, is mirrored to the other platforms. So let me close this. So let's talk pricing options. There are two pricing options for Taskade. We have the free and we have the unlimited. The major difference is just up capacity. So more tasks, more projects, up the file sizes, and the ultimate, or the I say global storage for the amount of files you can save within your projects and your workspaces. You can read the full comparison chart on their website. Now that reminds me, Taskade is giving out free upgrades to Unlimited. So what you need to do is just install free, contact Taskade, mention this channel's name and object is and they'll, first 500 of you, they'll upgrade you to their Unlimited plan for free. All of the details of that is in the description box below. And so that's the pricing of Taskade. The free and Unlimited, the major difference between the two is just a capacity upgrade. So what are my final impressions of Taskade? Well, like I told you in the intro, I actually use this to manage the content for this channel. as well as my side business. So why did I choose Taskade? I don't want to dog any other project management platform or system. I mentioned Trello. I don't really use Trello anymore. And there's a few others I was looking at with my business partner. Taskade's this nice middle ground. The other ones we were using were way too complicated. We can figure out a bunch of stuff. There's way too many panels, way too many tabs. Taskade's philosophy is kind of my philosophy. Simple, to the point, no frills, no fuss, just really functional. And so my business partner and I were able to get Taskade up and running with a few hours. And that's what I look for in a project management system. I don't have to fiddle or figure out all the nuances of a project management system, just so I can get to the point where I can start doing the actual work I'm getting paid to do. I like the fact that I could just get up all this information, coordinate between my business partner and I, or just all by my lonesome on the channel here, and then I can just start doing the actual work I'm getting paid to do. I don't have to fiddle around with a product that's not really paying me, other than this sponsorship, but a product that's not really paying me for my time. And so that's why I chose Taskade. It's to the point, very simple, clean. It lets you hit the ground running. So that's going to be for the video. Thanks again to Taskade for reaching out to me and sponsoring this video. And as for you guys, again, first 500 of you, details in the description. Install the free plan. Contact them with this channel's name. They'll upgrade you to the Unlimited. Also, don't forget to give a like. It helps the channel grow. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And I'll see you guys in the next one.